Now let's talk about this hot topic. Everybody says AI, ChatGPT, and all that. How do you think that is gonna help your company? Is that a boon or a bane, like to grow forward?
Like even I'm experimenting with AI SDR tools, right? And essentially, what it does is it replaces a human SDR. So now I have a tool. It's slightly expensive, but cheaper than a human for sure. But it can actually go in through my LinkedIn. It can send messages, very personalized messages to all of my prospects. It'll talk like me. I mean the messaging, and it'll actually book meetings on my calendar. So all I have to do is go and attend those calls.
So hi Keshav, welcome to Old Monk Radio. So how you been? It's been a while that we spoke. How are you? How are things going on in your hand?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Going good, going. Yeah, it's every week is or every day itself is different. But yeah, it's been a
Oh,
while.
okay.
What's happening with
It's been
you?
a
How's
while,
it
yeah.
going?
Yeah, it's going good, bro. So right now I've just finished my second semester. All that things are going good. So how
And
is
how's it going?
your product coming up? Telescope.
Yeah, how product is shaping up. I mean, so we are actually right now in the middle of we're pivoting our
Hmm.
product. So the earlier market
Uh-huh.
we understood um, wasn't a good fit for us, or like that market was dipping, and we essentially
Uh-huh.
kind of entered it at the wrong time. So we're pivoting to something else. And again, now it's all AI. AI is
Uh-huh.
like the buzzword. So we're dabbling with AI, just trying to figure we're close to something, but yeah, we'll see how it turns
So,
out.
so if you want to explain your product to a 15-year-old or 20-year-old layman, like how would you keep it in simple terms? Like what is the problem you're trying to solve or
Yeah, again,
what
like I
kind?
said, so
Yeah.
right now the earlier one. I'm not gonna touch upon that because
Tough.
it's pointless. But yeah, like the new
Yeah.
product, we still
Mm-hmm.
haven't. I mean, there are a lot of wrinkles to be ironed out, but essentially,
Mm-hmm.
we're building an analytics tool to
Mm-hmm.
help non-analytic savvy folks interpret data better. So, somebody who's not very well versed with Tableau and Excel and Google Sheets, um,
Okay.
and again, analytics is is the core of most businesses today. And
Yeah.
so for folks who don't understand or who don't know to use these tools, we
Yeah.
are a
Yeah.
way more intuitive AI tool that helps you interpret your data better and make more strategic decisions.
Oh, that's cool. Like you have any competitors right now or somebody who you look, okay, this product is somewhere close to what you're building or how is it?
Again, that's what man. So right now it's very early stages. So I think probably
Yeah.
I'm also in that phase of discovering all of that right now. So
Uh-huh.
we still haven't fixated upon broadly. And we know this is the space that we want to dabble in, but we've not.
Okay.
What do you say? Uh, Gone too deep to identify who's the correct persona.
Okay.
I think that's the next step, right? Trying to figure out who's the
Yeah.
correct
Yeah.
persona and all of
Okay.
that stuff. So.
How has this journey been, bro? Like, I mean, I've known you for a few years. You were having a good full-time job, working as a customer success, I guess. And then you took the switch to start up your own thing. Like, what did that spark? Like, what did you think that you should come out of the regular job and start something like this? And how has it been all this while? Can you walk us through the
Um,
journey? Like, yeah,
Yeah, sure. So I think this was about around COVID time is essentially when it all started, and I think that's the same story for a lot of folks during
yeah,
COVID when you were like stuck at
mm,
home for a relatively long period
mm,
of time. I think
yeah,
everybody just their creative juices started flowing. So in
uh,
Niloth, in my case, it was yeah, we were essentially just trying to figure out a solution to the
mm,
problem that we were facing firsthand. So I used to work for a company called ChargeBee, which is a SaaS billing
mm,
solution.
uh-huh,
And
yeah, yeah,
so initially I was in customer support, and then eventually moved to customer success. So that's a little bit about
mm-hmm,
my background. And
okay,
again, in terms of data, although there were a lot of repetitive tasks that I was doing
okay,
in these roles, I was
uh-huh,
like, I had to kind of go to Excel sheets, and I used to break my head so much just trying to figure out
mm-hmm,
how can I kind of automate this to some extent, right? And
mm-hmm,
and again, all of this during COVID. Finally, I took that to Niloth, and I was like,
mm,
hey, you know what? Is there something we can do with this? Is there any way we can productize? all of this Excel sheet stuff because it's something that I'm
Mm.
doing month on
Got
month,
it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and then a lot of conversations happened. We spoke to a lot of people. Again, fast forward to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
August is finally when we decided, hey, you know what, we're onto something. We attended a couple of conferences, spoke to a lot
Mm-hmm.
of our ICP, right, like who our potential customers would be and investors and all of that. And we kind
Mm-hmm.
of figured out that we're onto something. But
Okay.
the key for us was every time we spoke, especially at these events, right, when you're meeting them upfront, every time we tell them
Mm.
that the whole we talk them through the idea and what we're trying to build, all of that is very exciting. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment we say we're not full time into this, everybody, especially
Mm.
investors and all of that, used to take a backseat thinking, hey, you know
Okay.
what, these guys are
Uh-huh.
not ready yet. Let's give them some time, and once they're full time, we
Okay.
can kind of engage again. So then finally
Okay.
we're like, hey, you know what, it's now or never. We've been researching for
Got
almost
it.
a year or a little more than that, and
Mm.
finally we're like, hey, you know what, let's just it's now
Mm-hmm.
or never kind of thing. And yeah, so we quit our jobs and decided to tackle this.
So
But yeah, a
how is
lot of
the
lessons.
industry? Yeah. So how does this industry look like, bro? Like you switch from a corporate job to a entrepreneurship. So how is the community built here? Like, do they support each other, or like let us know about how you reached out to investors and what were the responses initially, and what are the things which you learned from them so that you could improve on the company and yourself.
Yeah, I think a couple of questions in there that you asked. In terms of the community, especially in SaaS, software as a service, our industry, I think
Mm-hmm.
people are very. It's like a paid forward kind of community
Hmm.
um, where be it here in India or in the West, wherever it is, I've generally seen people are willing to help. In fact, so
Okay.
much so even though you might have competitors competing for the same markets,
Mm-hmm.
um, we've always been in touch with. In fact, we were even friends with some of our competitors and all of that, even though they were like way bigger than us. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like there's no again, it is a business
I,
at the end of the day. You are fighting to
yeah.
like kind of get money, but at the same time, they are as long as you're not sharing IP and sharing trade secrets. I think everybody's there to help, and yeah, so that way
Got
the
it.
community is very very, and there's enough and more online presence where you can reach out to a lot of these guys
Mm-hmm.
for help, and people are just
Mm-hmm.
willing to help. And in terms of, and then you asked about investors, right? How we went about reaching out to
Yeah.
them and all of that. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was a depressing shit show because investors are, you'll have to, I think most founders have spoken to us at the same thing. You have to go through a
Uh-huh.
lot of investor conversations.
So
Um,
what actually happens there, like
what do you mean?
with the investors, like you reach out to them, so they'll give you a slot or a timing, so you have to pitch a product or something like that. So what really happens when you are sitting with an investor?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, in our case, I had a lot of investors reaching out initially because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, through word of mouth, through meeting us at events, a lot of again, my LinkedIn used to be filled with a lot of people saying, "Hey, you know, what,
Mm-hmm.
let's. I see that you're building something interesting." They would have come across a
Mm-hmm.
post talking about you or your website somehow, and they kind of reach
Mm-hmm.
out. But yeah, during later stages, you also start reaching out. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so once you're on the call, it's essentially there's something called a pitch deck. Again, this can vary from investor to investor depending on whether you're talking to an analyst. Analyst is like the
Yeah.
the
Junior
lowest level
level.
of yeah. So they're essentially going to be the person who's interacting with you first, most likely,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of
Okay.
validate you guys what are you trying to build. Does this fit into their thesis? All of that, and
Okay.
as you kind of impress them, more and more
Uh-huh.
people from their leadership, so right up to the partner level, folks will come in.
Okay.
Usually it's just 2 3 calls. No, it doesn't um, and by that time they do get some conviction of, hey, you know what, these
Okay.
guys are onto something here. And then there's a huge
Mm-hmm.
due diligence process which takes up most of the time in terms of investment. So they kind of they want to ensure that they like your idea and the product, but they want to ensure that your business is kind of very legal, right? You're not whatever
Mm-hmm.
doing random stuff with your company and cooking the books and all of that stuff. So there's a huge diligence process that goes through. But
Okay.
yeah, so in these
Uh-huh.
conversations, the the VCs usually have a checklist of their own that
Okay.
um, they're trying to kind of answer. And again, these guys don't they like certain segments or industries. Like for example, there are VCs who are explicitly VCs only for SaaS companies. So they'll only fund SaaS companies, similar for gaming
Okay.
sector, manufacturing, whatever
Okay.
you name it, right? And they'll be cross sector agnostic also, like the bigger guys. But so they
Okay.
already have what they call a thesis around. So, for example, I was building in customer success when we raised
Mm-hmm.
our initial capital, and so
Mm-hmm.
not all of them, but
Mm-hmm.
generally a good average of them would have a fair understanding of how customer success, like what are the operations
Mm-hmm.
like. Well, they'll know customer success folks in different in some of the portfolio companies that they'll reach out to, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to validate. So again, these guys have bunch of questions in terms of what are you doing
Mm-hmm.
differently from your
Got
competitors?
it. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
prevents other folks from replicating what you've done? Okay, great, you've started something, but do you
Okay.
have something like called a moat, right? Something that is preventing others from um, kind of jumping in
Bring
because
it. Yeah, got it.
yeah.
So that is a technical thing, or do you have to take this trademark or copyright issues like to
No,
protect your USP?
again, I'm coming from a very SaaS
Mm.
software standpoint, so it could differ
Mm-hmm.
from for like all of your physical products and all that, but not necessarily IP and trademark and
Yeah.
stuff. But it's again, it can vary, right? So, for example, in our case, since we were
Mm.
from the customer success background,
Mm-hmm.
um, we had some domain expertise. That was kind of our differentiating factor. We kind of knew what we were doing, and
Okay.
then again, as you grow, you try to build it into the product as well, right? But again, today, I think gone is the day with in terms of tech moat. So moat
Mm-hmm.
is again like it's the industry term for something that prevents your competitors from replicating what you've done. Just think of it like a
Okay.
moat around a fort or palace. Um,
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing,
Okay.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, today tech moats don't exist because technically anybody can, sitting out of college itself, can look at what
Yeah.
you've done and just replicate it. So
Got it.
unless
Yeah.
you're OpenAI or like very few companies have tech moats these days. So
Got it. Yeah.
the key thing that I've learned recently is one of the biggest modes or best modes would be if you have a edge for distribution. So right, one
Mm-hmm.
thing is you're building the greatest product ever,
Mm-hmm.
solving the problem really well. But if you
Mm-hmm.
can't get it to the hands of your ideal customers, you're never going to make money, right?
Got it.
Whereas
Yeah.
I believe the ulta, you can build a again may not be as fancy, but you still solve it. Like again, the product has to solve some problem. People have to pay for it, but you build a
Got it.
just a good enough product that works. And if you have a
Uh-huh.
really good distribution, so I don't know, you have connects that nobody else has, or you have again distribution can mean different things, right? But as
Got
long
it.
as
Yeah.
you have some key right that helps you get to your customer base way quicker than anybody else, that's not
That's
replicatable.
okay. Got it. Got it. So you mentioned that you used a lot of LinkedIn to promote your product and post on customer success and SaaS application. Do you think LinkedIn is the right platform for co-founders to reach out to investors or to get the publicity? How did that help you in this journey, LinkedIn?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a huge LinkedIn fan. In fact, I'm more active on LinkedIn than Instagram or any other social media.
Uh-huh.
So in again, this is very coming from my industry SaaS standpoint.
Hmm.
Could vary
Uh-huh.
from industry to industry, but
Hmm.
yeah, for us, LinkedIn is definitely super helpful because you
Hmm.
find a lot of people from a again the SaaS community is very active there. A lot of
Got it.
interesting
Uh-huh.
stuff to read about. At the same time, yeah, like
Hmm.
most people from our industry are active on LinkedIn. So if you message them,
Okay.
asking for
Okay.
help, there's a very good chance they'll reply pretty quickly there.
Oh, that's surprising because I mean, what I've seen mostly in the LinkedIn community is like you get mostly automated messages or some cold messages regarding get the certification, get buy a course or something. But
Yeah.
hardly people reply to relevant topics.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you won't have randomly people are reaching out saying more. If
mm,
people are reaching out, they want something from you, right? More often than not,
yeah,
it'll be like a sales message. But
yeah, sales message,
I
yeah.
mean, once in a while you do. So as you get more involved in the LinkedIn community, I think more and more
Mm-hmm.
people start to reach out for like different kind of help in terms of hey, can you put me in touch with somebody else, or can you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what do you think about what I'm trying to do with my career, stuff like that. I don't know. So people, yeah, it is a very helpful
Okay.
community if you use it right.
So yeah, that's true. And Keshav, like in this part of like 4 years journey, like you started in 2020, you told like to start something up, and it's been a while. So at any point, did you think, okay, this is going out of my hand, this is not my cup of tea, I'll give up? Or were there any instances which was a roadblock for you? Like, okay, something is there, and how did you overcome that? And you're still not giving up on your product and your the dream product which you want to do. So what keeps,
Yeah.
like, how, what is the struggles or things which happened, and what made you push through that?
Right. Oh shit, man. I mean, that's a ton of. I mean, being a founder, one thing that I've learned is
Hmm.
use. What do you say? Take the leap. Thinking you
Huh.
look at Elon Musk, you look at all the big great like Nikhil Kamath, whoever your idol is. You look at all of these
Uh-huh.
guys, and you're like, dude, that's what I want to be a founder like them. And
Yeah.
you just think you're gonna be like building something revolutionary, and that's what you think before jumping in, right? Before taking the full
Yeah.
step. But
Got it. Yeah.
once you become a founder, it's eight like only probably 5 to 10% of your time goes into figuring out the product. The remainder
Mm.
is either admin work, a lot of document and legal bullshit that you don't understand that you'll have to deal with, and
Uh-huh.
most importantly is the mental toll it takes on you in terms of
Okay.
um, it can be depressing, right? Or it can be uh, again, I think the keyword is perseverance. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, you need to understand that, yeah, like most of the time things are not going to work out well for you, but you just need to
Uh-huh.
keep pushing through those days somehow. Just again, like
Mm.
build up courage to do that, and then finally you can yeah, those again. And I think there is a huge luck factor that is involved in somebody succeeding,
Mm-hmm.
but
And
I think
discipline?
you just
Yeah.
discipline too, but I'm saying luck in the. So what? How I would interpret it is, you need perseverance to go through the shit days, and which is a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the time. And when
Uh-huh.
that lucky chance or lucky opportunity comes by, you should
Mm-hmm.
be there to like grab it with both your hands. And I think
Oh,
those are the
right.
guys who really make it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, right time at the right
perseverance is the
place.
thing. Yeah, exactly. And actually, one of my founder friends, he gave me a good analogy of this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he's a runner. He goes running um,
Mm-hmm.
pretty often. So he was telling me, when you're running, imagine you go to like a track or something, like a park or something, and you're running, right? And there are a lot of other runners around you.
Mm-hmm.
You will probably be comfortable running at a decent pace. Like you'll run at a pace that you're comfortable with. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
somebody on the side will run way faster than you, but will get more tired quickly. There'll be somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's essentially just walking, they're not even running, but they'll cover a longer distance. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends on body types. It depends on who they are, like their comfort
Mm.
levels, right? So it's the
Yeah.
same thing with building a company. Is in the
Okay.
sense you can either don't look at somebody else running a company and
Okay.
be that, hey, you know what, why am I not able to do this or all of that.
Got it.
You need to figure out what your goals are. Why did you start the company? Do you want to raise $1 billion like Zepto keeps raising money, or do you want to build that
Mm-hmm.
kind of a company? Do you want to build a bootstrap company where you're just having a good life,
Mm.
putting food on the table? So again,
Uh-huh.
figure out what you want to do, what kind of company you want to build, and then like be happy with that. Don't like keep comparing.
Got it. And recently, there's a trend which I've noticed. Correct me if I'm wrong. So many of the young co-founders, they try to build a company. They put their hard work and soul into the company for 5, 6 years, and then there's a point where they sell their company and they retire. So at a very early age, and uh, I mean, that's good money which you're getting. So what do you think about this approach? Like when you're building a product which is your baby, and you're taking it to a certain level, and then okay, you'll be like, I'm selling the company. So is this a right thing or a wrong thing? On what is your opinion on this?
No, I feel like go sell. I mean, again, this is what I was talking about earlier,
Yeah,
right? It's why are you
yeah,
building the company? You're not, unless you're building like an social responsibility, like whatever CSR kind of project where you're like, hey, you know what, I want to feed
mm,
so many hungry people or some shit like that. If
mm,
you're in it to make money and if you're running a business, you shouldn't
uh-huh,
be emotionally attached to the product. Like product
got
can,
it.
you'll have to pivot it, you'll have to tweak it, you'll have to build boring stuff that you don't like building. But
Mm-hmm.
as long as you get the money, again, you're in it for money, right? So if it gets
Yeah,
you paid, then I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, that's what you got what you came for. So essentially, I
Got
don't
it.
think it makes any sense to be emotionally attached to what you're building.
Perfect. Got it.
And
So, yeah.
uh, I also feel we shouldn't. It's not necessary. This was a yeah. Looking back, it's something that we could have avoided is the conviction to
Mm-hmm.
start up and like or go full time and start up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
kept thinking unless we do this full time, people are not gonna what do you say, especially investors and all of that are not gonna appreciate. But that's I think bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to do it again, I would probably still continue with my job. Give it less. I
Uh,
mean, obviously, this will get less time than the start of the product, but
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Keep building over the weekends or in your free time and all of that. But
Mm-hmm.
until you've hit a revenue milestone, like essentially until you've gone given the product to somebody and they're paying for it, and you can figure out what those revenue milestones are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of validation, right? You can do that while you're
Mm-hmm.
working full time somewhere else. You don't need to go full time into the product or your own startup.
Got it. Makes sense. So, like, there are many upcoming people, founders or young people just passing out and trying to build a product, and they're giving up because they're not able to reach out to investors, or they're not getting the right responses from the people. So, what do you think that being in this industry for a few years, like, what is that one thing that you have noticed that okay, this is the right way, or this is a gap which is there, so that they can cover the gap and reach out to investors and take it forward.
No, sorry, when you say gap, what do you mean? Like I don't understand.
Like there are people who are trying to build up products and they're not getting the attention which they need, or the investors trying to help them out, or is there a community? I mean, I'm just like a layman person. If you want to tell them and get, I mean, they want to get educated by this. So what would you tell them?
Um, in terms of reaching out to investors, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yeah, in reaching out to investors and helping them build that particular brand. See, when you started your company, you reached out to investors and they also gave you some feedbacks, right? And
Yeah.
regarding tweaking and all that about your product. So how does that actually work there?
Um, yeah. So I think step one, or like the most important thing, is build
Uh-huh.
something and figure out a way to get paid for it. Right? Like I was saying, um,
Mm-hmm.
it won't happen overnight. Like it'll be multiple iterations. First, you'll ideally you've kind of experienced this problem yourself, because
Yeah,
that's the best way to kind of you'll have a proper understanding of what you're building. Then, based on
got
that,
it. Ah.
again, just like in my story, like I was
Mm.
struggling. I was doing a lot of Excel sheet work manually, right? And
Okay. Ah.
and it was very repetitive task. So then I went and
Mm-hmm.
spoke to a lot of other success folks from other companies and try to
Mm-hmm.
validate, hey, are you all guys also doing the same thing? Like, are you guys going through a similar problem or is it just me? Right? So
Mm-hmm.
then you realize that, hey, you know what, there are other people in this world that are facing the similar problem, a good enough amount. And
Mm-hmm.
again, one thing that I didn't do was I just took it at face value. Every time I used to keep going on calls, people will tell me, hey, this is very good, this is very interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
nobody's essentially buying, right? And technically, I wasn't selling either, so that was my mistake. So we used to
Mm-hmm.
keep building, thinking, "Hey, people are liking it. This was a feature they recommended. Let's build it."
Ah.
Right? Without actually thinking, "Will this get more money for us?" So yeah, I
Okay.
think the lesson learned is figure out a way to build something and make money, so you can remain in your full time job until that happens. And once you
Uh-huh.
reach a decent revenue mark, um,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, investors are gonna come to you. Don't like there's no again. Investors are also kind of like their analysts behave like sales folks. So they again,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about how VCs work, right? They've taken
Yeah.
money from HNIs and other folks. So it's not like it's VC's money,
What's HNI?
right? They are
What's HNI here?
high net worth individuals like your
I
Ambanis
know.
and rich people.
Okay. So rich people, they give money to the angel investors, is it?
So think of it as a VC firm. They imagine
Uh-huh.
you're running 100 million fund, right? This is your fund. You're
Uh,
going to disperse it into 10 startups. You need
Uh-huh.
100 million to do that. Okay. So what,
Okay.
10 million each startup.
Okay.
Now, or let's say 1 million each for 100 startups. Easy, better math. Okay. 100 million fund you
Okay.
need. You are going to
Okay.
go, where are you going to get this money from, right? Like imagine you and I are going to start the VC fund tomorrow. You and I don't have that kind of money. So what
Got
we'll
it.
do
Yeah.
is we'll go reach out to rich folks, a huge amount of
Mm.
them, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody will put in bits, and finally now
Mm.
you're essentially now a fund manager, right? You've gathered
Mm.
100 million from whatever some 100 rich people, and
Okay.
it can be rich people, it can be private equity, it can be like larger VC firms. There are many ways you can get that money. But yeah, essentially
Mm-hmm.
now that you have this, now
Mm-hmm.
as a VC, why like you now need to show returns to why have those guys given you the money, right? You are promising them
Yeah.
that you're going to invest it in startups,
Stops.
and
Okay. Uh-huh.
those startups are going to return, like you're going to get great returns from this over a span of 10 years or something. So that's 10
Mm.
years is usually 8 to 10 years is usually like the life of a life of a fund.
Mm-hmm.
And within that time, you should, if you've collected 1
Okay.
million from, let's say, Ambani, ideally you should be
Uh-huh.
returning in 5 million or 4 million, right? Within that span.
Okay.
Otherwise, makes no sense. Why would he give you that money? So there's
Got
also
it.
that
Yeah.
pressure on VCs to invest in
Yes.
good
Right
startups
companies.
that they feel will give that return, and
Uh-huh.
thereby,
Uh-huh.
so that pressure is also
Yes.
on them that they need to make money. So they are going to come and reach out to you also, because
Okay.
they need, just like sales, they need to
Uh-huh.
go
Uh-huh.
find startups that they can go in.
Got it.
Because again, now that you've raised 100 million, if you're
Mm.
not investing it, it's waste, right?
There's
Like
no.
Ambani is like, oh, what are these rich guys are going to come and ask you, dude, why did you take
Uh-huh.
my money then if you're not investing it? Like it's just, I'm not making
Got
FD
it.
money also, I'm not making any money on this. Like it's just
Got it.
like dead stock. So these guys also have that
Okay.
pressure, and if you kind of think or yeah, if you kind of structure your pitch and story according to that, so now you realize that this guy has money to be
Uh-huh.
returned, and
Got
VCs
it.
know that out of 10 startups they invest in, only one or two of them are probably going to make it big, right? But they are
Yeah.
betting on the fact that those one or two companies will
We'll make
return,
it
yeah, will make enough, like there'll be a huge exit that gives them money to cover
the
the
rest of the
eight others
loss.
who didn't succeed. Yeah. So one of them, like one of these will be a Swiggy, and the others will be a Freshworks. So these kind of guys
Okay.
return like a whole fund itself alone, right?
Okay.
So
So one more question. Like what is the difference between a venture capitalist and an angel investor? So there, I mean, I'm quite confused with this. Is there a difference
yeah,
between them, or is it just another word?
no, it's not synonymous. So angel investors are again, they could be rich folks, they could be, they're more individual. They invest from an individual capacity, and they come in
Mm-hmm.
very early on in the company. So for example, you're starting a company today.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Usually the first people you'll go and raise some little, you need like little bit of money for operations, right? So it can
Yeah.
be, I don't know, couple of lakhs or something. So you'll go reach
Mm-hmm.
out to your friends, family, uncles,
Oh. Okay.
ex-boss, these kind of people. They'll all put in
Uh-huh.
like whatever small bits, whatever they
Mm.
can, like a lakh or two here and there. And then now you
Mm-hmm.
have a small bit of money, which is, so these are now your angel investors. They come very early on.
Yeah.
Again, you have high profile angel investors also, but
Okay.
VCs are more institutional. In VCs are like a firm. They manage.
Okay.
They deal in larger
Mm-hmm.
check sizes. They manage more
Mm-hmm.
money and wealth, and yeah. So that's the main difference.
That's good, bro. Nice knowing that. And like I know, but for the audience here, you have a co-founder with you. So how is it finding the right co-founder, and what are the discussions you have, and how is it choosing that, I mean, choosing the right business partner or your co-founder? How does it feel? And what's the thing that you should look at when you're choosing a co-founder? Because there'll be multiple issues with thought process and business decisions. So
Yeah,
how do you take that
no,
up?
that's for sure. I mean, we argue a lot
Yeah.
of the time on whether like what we should be building, how we should be
Uh-huh.
building, where like what company decisions, all of that stuff. But I actually don't know what not to look in a founder, because again, touch wood, so far, I mean, both of us have been
Uh,
getting along well. So my
uh-huh.
co-founder Nilotpal is a friend from mine from the previous company we worked at, and so we've known each
Uh-huh.
other a good amount of time. So I kind of
Uh-huh.
knew, and since we've worked together,
Uh-huh.
I think both of us knew our work ethics, and like we knew that we're good at what we do, and we
Mm-hmm.
can uh, pull it off from a technical aspect. But
Mm-hmm.
more important is, again, like technically, you just put LinkedIn co-founder, or you just put a post on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn saying I'm looking for a co-founder. I'm sure you'll get a lot of profiles, and most of them
Mm-hmm.
will be technically able to like do it, be it the sales side or
Mm-hmm.
coding side. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the other factor is on like the emotional
Yeah.
connect that you guys have, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
when shit hits the fan, which it 100% is gonna beat your personal
Mm-hmm.
life, beat the company. There's gonna be a lot of bad days. So how do
Mm-hmm.
you are you like can you get like can you both of you face that storm together versus
Mm-hmm.
is the blame or like will the blame game start? Will he start saying, hey, you know what, you didn't do a good
Ah,
job
yeah.
bringing customers, or I'll start pointing the finger saying, hey,
Mm.
it's because the product isn't great, right? So like, I mean, you need
Okay.
to find
Have
somebody
that
who,
emotional.
yeah, and if you've gone
Yeah.
through something like that before, then perfect. Then you know that you can trust that person with building a company, right? He's not gonna backstab you because I've seen this happen. It's very once things
What
don't
happens?
work
What
out.
happens?
Yeah, it's very ugly. Like the legal side, obviously, you're gonna pursue legal. So
Uh-huh.
if again, just imagine, right? You and your co-founder building
Uh-huh.
something, both of
Mm-hmm.
you, either you just what do you say? You just walk out saying, "Hey, you know what? It's creative differences. I don't like. I don't agree with the way the company is being run or
Okay.
the
Uh-huh.
vision for the company, and I'm gonna walk out. My shares, you can sell it back to him at whatever the value
Uh-huh.
is. But again, there
Uh-huh.
is a now suddenly you're obviously if you're a co-founder you are adding contributing something to that team, right? Now
Got it.
suddenly now
Yeah.
that gap has to be filled by them. You at the same
Uh,
time on being left, you'll be like, hey, I mean it's just a ton of legal and unwanted unnecessary interruption to the company's operations
yeah.
where yeah
Got
if you
it.
can
Yeah.
avoid it much better.
Mm. So,
And
on a
legal is
separate
very
note,
expensive.
I, I know, legal things are very expensive, and it's like headache, right? Going to and
Yeah, exactly.
fro and maintaining the paperwork, and it's just unnecessary when you're trying to build a product.
Exactly, yeah.
So, apart from that, bro, like, how have you seen your personal life going through, like, handling all these, and how about you? Like, what is your perspective about manifesting things and law of attraction? How does it actually work in you personally? Do you believe all that?
Law of attraction, oh damn.
Huh.
No, I mean, manifesting law of
Manifesting.
attraction, big words, but yeah, not really, dude. I mean, personal life definitely takes a hit once
Uh-huh.
you decide to start up because a lot of your energy and especially mental
Yeah.
bandwidth just goes there and time.
What do you do to
Uh,
tackle that? What do you do to tackle that mental health? I mean, it's a lot of mental toll. It takes a lot of mental toll when you're starting up
Yeah, I
things.
mean, I still don't have an answer to it. How I'm managing today is with I play a lot of sports that way, and I'm
Uh,
a person who loves sports. So I play
uh-huh.
badminton, I play
Mm.
basketball, and then I go for table tennis. So a lot of this happens pretty frequently, and
Uh-huh. Okay.
that kind of since I enjoy it, it's kind of like refreshing. But again, it doesn't really
Mm.
solve it, right? Again, then there's
Yeah.
meditation I don't do it, but I've heard again it works for different people. Some folks have gone to Vipassana for 10 days to
Mm.
understand themselves better, or you can just have a
Mm.
partner who's really who you can like
Mm.
talk it out with. I don't know, it differs from person to person how you deal with that. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lonely journey.
Lonely journey, yeah. So how was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
for you?
for
That's
sure.
what. Yeah. So how was it for you? Like, have you thinking back from 2021? Did you think your company would be here at this place? And are you looking forward for more?
Uh, for more, what like in terms of the company?
Yeah, yeah. Company growing,
Yeah,
and what is the
for
thing
sure.
which you're looking forward?
I think we have a lot of plans cooking in terms of
Mm-hmm.
where the company, what we're gonna do product wise. Obviously, that's tied to revenue. Hopefully, we unlock all of that. So fingers crossed that
Uh,
works out well. But you
uh-huh.
were asking on the personal side.
Hmm.
Uh, what were you asking on the personal side? How I'm handling all of this? Is it?
Yeah, how are you handling all this? Then, do you believe in this manifesting and law of attraction? Do you like you manifest something so much that happens in your life regarding the company or anything as such?
I mean, it depends on how you define manifest. Like if you're gonna sit at
Uh,
home, just keep thinking, okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna build $100 million company. If you call that
Okay.
manifestation, obviously that doesn't make sense. But if
Got
you
it. Yeah.
want to build $100 million company and you keep whatever doing the
Working towards
work
it.
it takes, yeah, working towards it bit by bit. If that is manifestation,
Mm,
yeah, that 100%. I think so. Like I said,
mm,
it's not like every
mm,
day's work is gonna pay off. In fact, a lot of the time, so we've gone into so many. again VC meetings, customer meetings. We've come so close on so many deals that for
Mm,
reasons out of our
mm.
control, like it doesn't work out. And
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
if they actually, if those deals happened, it would have been a game changer for our company, right? So all of that,
Ah, got it.
probably the
Uh-huh.
first few times it hits you hard. Then after that, now you're like, fuck it.
You're
I mean,
used to.
whatever happens, yeah, just keep sleep it off and wake up the next day. You're like, okay, let's go at it again. So like I said, it's you keep persevering till one fine day. So probably like when you're traveling on a train and you're the person sitting
Mm.
across you could be a investor or a customer, right? That's what I call like
Yeah.
I don't mean that ugly, but like
Uh,
luckily that happens and you continued till now that opportunity is you're there to grab that opportunity is what I'm trying to say. So I
yeah.
believe more in
Right
persevering
time at the
and
reference.
yeah, than just sitting and
So,
thinking or dreaming.
so like you told, like after things not working out, going meeting investors, you come back. So, what is the conversation you and your co-founder have? How do you tackle that so that you look at the bigger picture and not to be stuck on the disappointment?
So how do my co-founder and I deal with these
What is, uh,
rejections that we get? Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
exactly. So initially, both of us, since we are
Mm-hmm.
like again, we're very new. We were new to that world.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, especially when some of the big names, people that you've seen, like
Mm-hmm.
again in our small bubble, it's like they were like not superstars. What do you call them? Like they were LinkedIn famous, right? So they were celebrities
Yeah.
in their own sense. They're like, oh shit, this investor wants to talk to us. We're like a big
Uh-huh.
deal and all of that.
Yeah.
But then, and then when it doesn't work out, like it hits you hard
Mm.
of, and especially when a lot of the moments you go very very close, right? You're almost there, but some stupid legal reason or
Mm-hmm.
security reason something doesn't work out.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think again that's probably the benefit of having a co-founder that understands or you're able to compare like what do you say mentally we are on the
Compact.
same page. It's
Mm-hmm.
we don't really like obviously we look at what went wrong, like why didn't this work out, so we do like a
Okay.
postmortem or like a diagnosis of that. But I think it's
Okay.
more of yeah, fuck it, let's I mean another opportunity will come, let's just wait for that, and it will for sure if you survive for long
Yeah.
enough those opportunities
Got it.
will keep coming, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully or ideally one of them you will be able to convert. And
Got
so
it.
yeah, we just keep we're like okay,
Pushing for that.
let's work on what went wrong here, but yeah, let's also probably this wasn't meant for us, let's wait for the next one to come.
Got it. So now let's talk about this hot topic. Everybody says AI, ChatGPT, and all that. How do you think that is gonna help your company? Is that a boon or a bane, like to grow forward? Like AI
Chat.
revolution, ChatGPT, Bard, Gemini, and all those.
Right. Yeah, AI for sure is a game changer. 100%. It's like the latest
Mm-hmm.
technology that is out.
Uh-huh.
It just makes sense. Like the world is gonna head towards that, so you might as well ride the wave. From a company standpoint, we're not battling with AI. It's like it's
Uh,
stupid to do that. So you might as well
yeah.
like incorporate AI so that like you ride the wave.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for sure, it's so like even I'm experimenting with AI SDR tools, right? And essentially, what it does is it
Mm-hmm.
replaces a human SDR. So SDR is a sales development representative. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
they are your sales guys whose job is just to book meetings, right? So
Got it.
doing
Yeah.
all of the research, going and sending out cold emails to block meetings on your
Mm-hmm.
calendar. Now that whole part has been automated by AI, and
Uh-huh.
again, I'm not getting too technical on what the tech
Yeah. Yeah.
behind the scenes what is happening, but I've been using these tools and I've been exploring more. We are kind of incorporating AI into our product also, and it's fucking
Mm-hmm.
crazy on what it can do. But yeah,
Got it.
scary at the
Yeah.
same time. Of like, I think the true honest answer is nobody, even including OpenAI, nobody understands where it's heading, what is happening. So everybody's just sitting and like waiting and watching to see. Let's
Who's building
let's
all
make
this? Like, even if OpenAI is sitting and watching it, like, I'm curious now. Like, who's building all this then?
no, they're building,
Uh,
but I'm saying
uh,
nobody has any idea of what AI. Like it's imagine back in the day when internet came out, right?
yeah.
There's like suddenly now so many possibilities have opened up that you can't sit and jot it on like on a piece of paper saying this is what internet will help us do. Same way with AI, right? It's like it
Okay.
more as we keep as we explore, or as we experiment with it more companies building with AI, as we dabble with it,
Mm,
and OpenAI keeps upgrading their models every couple of months. So as we go
yeah,
down that, we're kind of exploring
got
new
it.
areas. For example, the most recent, like I told you, was it's actually replacing human jobs, which I thought wouldn't be
Okay,
possible this fast. But yeah, so
okay. Which is
um,
that? Which is that? Which
the
kind of jobs
SDR
are
I was
being
talking about,
replaced?
like booking meetings. So now I have a tool. It's slightly expensive,
Huh,
but cheaper than a human
huh,
for sure. But it can actually go in through my
okay.
LinkedIn. It can send messages, very personalized messages to all of my prospects. It'll talk
Uh-huh.
like me. I mean the messaging,
Mm,
and it'll
uh-huh.
actually book meetings on my calendar. So all I have to do is go and attend those calls.
Okay.
Like with the meetings it's booking. I would otherwise have to do it myself or hire a person, like a salesperson, to do it. Which now that tool has
Again, will
done the
cost
whole
you
thing. Yeah,
whole
and
thing.
it's
That's
doing it
cool.
really, really well. So arguably, it's even doing it better than an intern or a human that I would have hired. Like I would have had to hire an experienced sales guy to get that like
Mm,
level of accuracy and
okay,
all of that. It's
that's
pretty cool. I
cool.
mean, yeah, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
companies building with AI and it's opening up a lot of stuff. I guess it just makes sense
Mm-hmm.
to join that rather than don't sit and
Got it.
fight it saying, "Hey, AI is going to take my job." Just figure out how you can be better
Okay,
than
yeah.
AI.
That's very true. And like being a co-founder, like you'll have somebody to look up to, right? Like who is your favorite co-founder and what are the qualities which you look up to that you have taken it in your life? Like any
Um,
person as such which you look up to?
Yeah, couple of them. So it's definitely first name that comes to mind is one of my previous co-founder and CEO at ChargeBee. So he was
Mm-hmm.
somebody we saw very closely, like how he, and we kind of rode that wave of that company growing from a small, like we when I joined, we were just a 200 member company, and then
Uh-huh.
finally I saw it become a unicorn,
Uh,
raise a lot of capital, and then eventually, now I think when I left, they were at around 1,500 people. So
mm-hmm.
seeing how he handled that kind of made me, uh, what is, yeah, definitely somebody I look up to. And
Mm.
outside, yeah, definitely, I think Sam Altman is pretty cool. The
Sam
Stripe
Altman, yeah.
brothers, Patrick
Uh-huh.
Colson, and yeah, then again I can keep the list keeps going on. Even like my closer founder circle here, like people, companies who are just slightly
Mm-hmm.
ahead of me, those guys also have a lot of advice that is more relevant to me. So these are also guys I look up to.
Okay.
It's more tangible for me than looking at, hey, how did Stripe build their company or how did OpenAI build that,
Mm.
right? So this is more meaningful
Got it.
advice that I get. But yeah.
So what are the qualities which you look up to? Like you mentioned Sam Altman and co-founders and ChargeBee. So there are particular qualities which you look up to, maybe their discipline of work or how they handle the tough times. So what is
Yeah,
that
I
which
mean,
you take it from them?
so these guys again, they probably charge Krish, the charge we found. I've seen him a little more.
Mm,
Probably his just him being so down to earth. So I remember this
mm-hmm,
time again. I was a relatively new employee then, and
mm-hmm,
we were all just kind of excited about food. This guy,
uh-huh,
we were all sitting in the canteen or something. This guy just walks in. He and there were I think five of us sitting on that table. And
mm-hmm,
by then, ChargeBee is kind of slowly picking up. I think this was a year into the company or something. Slowly, they are growing.
mm,
And he's coming. He knows every person on that table, and he has like something to. What do you say? Like he knows something personal about you that
mm-hmm,
he can talk to you about. And
mm-hmm,
yeah, just his aura, dude. He's a very humble, like down to earth kind of guy. And in fact, in spite of him, I'm sure he has
mm,
a pretty big wallet by now. So yeah. But apart from that, like I don't know, like I don't know Sam Altman in person to see what is like. I know I like the way he speaks. He's just so badass and all of that. Those characters are
uh-huh,
pretty cool, but like I don't know personally
okay.
for me to say what otherwise like what qualities.
Got it. What do you think about this recent Elon Musk's that rocket ship which
Rocket,
came
yeah.
back? Yeah, yeah, and all those innovations which he's trying to do.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. Like I don't think it impacts us directly. It's pretty cool
Uh,
to like
yeah,
conceptually think of it. It's yeah, like now like I like his vision, right? He may be skewed, he may detour and all of that, but at least the
uh,
vision that he's painting, saying I want to make space more accessible. Um,
yeah,
I think. we keep going after experiences also, no? Like, why do you go scuba diving, skydiving, diving,
Hmm.
and all the like adventure? Those
Experiences, yeah,
experiences you crave. Space is
yeah,
something that probably up until our parents' generation was not even like, don't even think of seeing space unless like you have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, right? Whereas
got it,
now
yeah.
Musk's vision of kind of making it more accessible. So like this,
Mm-hmm.
what he just did is kind of one part towards that. No, now he's reusing the
Yeah,
same, I think, what do you say, launchers, which is going to drive down the cost significantly. So
go-
I mean,
got it,
probably in
yeah,
a 10 years or like probably a little more, but
yeah.
definitely in our lifetime, I think we can at least buy one ticket to go see Mars or the moon or something and come
Moon,
back
come back,
in
yeah,
person.
come back.
And I think only Musk can make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. So yeah, Keshav, so it was really nice talking to you, getting to know your experience and all that. So what do you think, like, if there any co-founders in your list or entrepreneurs who would like to come up on this show, share their experiences, like who would be the person which is on top of your head right now?
I can think of a few, man. Yeah, sure. I can connect you with them, and
Hmm,
yeah, like you guys can pick it
take
up
it up
from
from
there.
there.
But yeah, this is
Uh-huh.
awesome. Like, thanks so much for like doing this, and I'm hopeful somebody should benefit from all of this. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Definitely they will do. And even I benefited a lot from having this conversation. Learned a lot about how things work and about angel investors and how all those things are. It was good. I hope the audience also will like this too. And thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much for
likewise.
joining, bro.
So thanks so much for organizing, man. Pretty cool
Yeah,
stuff, and can't wait for this to
thank you
come.
for watching the video and supporting us. And if you think any other person who would like to be on the podcast, feel free to mention the name on the comments. We'll reach out to them.
Suggestions for us to do better. We are open for suggestions. Drop in the comments. Do not hesitate. If you want to screw us or appreciate us, you can do both in the comment section. Thanks a lot for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. We need your support. Please spread the word across.